Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olsen, the Tolkien professor, joined as always by my friend Gryfflet, who couldn't help but notice that although this river is called the Entwade, apparently, they could have called it the Hobbit Wade as well. He rather expected this river, which is the boundary, between Eastern and Western Rohan, and is being treated like the guy over there at the little hutment. I mean, I'm glad he has a hutment to get in out of the rain on days like this. But anyway, he treated it like this is this huge obstacle, and in fact, I appear to be able to wade, almost just run across it. I don't even need to swim. I think that any of my less vertically challenged characters would probably not even barely get their knees wet in this river. Anyway, there we go. Oh, look at this. Oh, see, look, Hunbald is being a tough guy, right? He's like, I have a little rain shelter, right? I have a little hutment next to the bridge, but I'm not even going to stand in it. I'm just going to stand in front of it and get wet. You are one stubborn man. Okay. Okay, guys, so we're gonna, they want me to head off to Wildermore, but I'm not gonna head off to Wildermore yet. First, I am going to head off to, that other place. Where is it? Yes, Walstow! Walstow, because that is our last town in the Sutcrofts, which is our last town in all of Eastern Rohan before we begin the big Hütbold adventure. Very exciting. I was swimming almost as well as Bingo there, JJ. Yeah, well, one can only aspire to be like the best. Okay, so let's see, what was I going to do? Oh yeah, I was just looking at my quests here. I've got some mounted persons. Yes. Got some mounted persons that I'm supposed to find. Some of which are everywhere, and some of which are just down here between Snowbourn and Walstow. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for a goblin. I'm looking for anybody for that one. But for this one, I'm looking for Goblin Harriers and Mordor Siege Breakers. Okay. Very good. All right. Okay. Oh, I see. People are teasing me for saying good morning. Hey, well, as Gandalf has observed before, one can use good morning for very many different things, right? And I find that one can use it for very many different times of day as well. I just have a less narrow view about what constitutes morning than some people. That's all. That's all. All right. So let's see. I'm just going to follow the road. Wait, hang on. Going the wrong way. Stop. That was an intersection. Almost missed it. Okay. All right. Yeah, you can tell the Tower of Snowbourn there. Marking it as the partial Gondorian ruin that it is. All right. Now, as I do this, hang on. I'm going to stop, carry on there. Oh, wait, yeah, Ethel, do you want me to go to these coordinates? Okay. Let's see if I can find those coordinates. What was I going to do? Oh, yeah, a lore question. That's what I was going to do. Okay. Let's see. Oh, so, Galmegil was just asking, what route does Eorl take from the Vales of Anduin to the fields of Celebrant? Well, while I'm stopped, is where we might as well talk about this. So, he went down along the river, basically. He followed the river down. We know that he passed by quite near to Lothlorien. In Unfinished Tales, we get the version of how Galadriel actually assisted the ride of the Rohirrim, that is the ride of Eorl the Young from the north. So I do believe, if I'm remembering correctly, he basically did come down the western bank of the Anduin sneaked between the river and the wood, not wanting to enter the wood, and then from there rode down to Parth Celebrant. So that, I believe, is the answer to that question. But, so let me get another question and then come back. So, oh, great, yeah. So, Madman Modeler was asking about the clock. So I had mentioned that the clock on Bilbo's mantelpiece being the most sort of obvious anachronism in The Hobbit. And he says, were the dwarves not quite technologically tricksy? Don't we understand Numenor to have this sort of technology? Okay, great question. So let's address those one by one. Are the dwarves technologically tricksy? That's actually interesting, and no, I think would be the safe answer to this question. That is, the dwarves actually don't really seem to be very technological. That is, they don't seem to be very interested in technology. They are interested in craftsmanship, right? So certainly they do. I'm not saying that, like, there is no technology. Hang on a second. What on earth is happening here? How did I end up on a northbound road again? I could tell I'm going the wrong way. I think I just didn't go all the way in far enough around. Let me just continue looping here. Uh-oh. There's Cramp again. Oh, I'm just gonna run straight into Cramp there. Okay. Cramp is pursuing me. Okay, no, it wasn't. Just looked like he was pursuing me. He was on an intercept course. Okay. There's my road. But I think I was hiding from Cramp anyway, on account of wearing my hat of invisibility. So that was handy. Boy, when is the hat of invisibility not handy? Okay. All right. And I am entering into the region where my mounted foes of choice are at large. Oh, yeah, hey, that's one of the guys. Okay. So... Tolkien, of course, gets, I think, an inappropriate... I think sometimes people talk about Tolkien's sort of particular antipathies when it comes to this kind of thing. A little bit over loosely. That is, some people will talk as if Tolkien were anti-technology, like as if technology itself were Tolkien's the thing that he didn't like, and that's not really true. He was anti-industrialization. That's what he didn't approve of, and what he thought was, a pretty. Hang on, I seem to be being. Oh, there he is. Okay, sorry, I couldn't see the guy who was attacking me. But anyway, yeah, so he's anti-industrialization. He doesn't like the internal combustion engine, though even there, like, one has to keep that in context. Like at different times in his life. I mean, he had a motor car. And was not a very good driver. There was a time in his life. I mean, those of you who know his little children's book, Mr. Bliss, which if you've never read Tolkien's children's book, Mr. Bliss, his picture book, it is delightfully weird. But anyway, you owe it to yourself to see if you can find a copy. It's not the easiest thing in the world to find, but if you can find a copy of Mr. Bliss, it's really funny. And it's based on, essentially, his own life. I mean, it's kind of based, not the whole thing isn't based on his own life, but the whole concept of Mr. Bliss buying a motor car and being a terrible driver and wrecking it up a bunch of times is pretty much based on real life. Anyway, so... But he's, he does not He thinks that industrialization is an evil in the way that the countryside is being destroyed and everything. That's something he's fairly consistent about. And so sometimes people will talk about this as if this were simply like an anti-technology stance on Tolkien's part. And it's really not an anti-technology stance. Because, first of all, anti-technology doesn't actually make very much sense. To paraphrase, you won't get very far in life not supporting technology, right? Because technology just means something that people do, like a technique that people have. I mean, all of the things which he clearly does approve of, things like farming, for instance, well, that's technology too. So in this sense, the reason I'm talking about this, what I'm getting back around to, is that the dwarves clearly are, in one sense, very technological. And we were talking about this in my Exploring the Lord of the Rings class a couple months back, when we were looking at Frodo's meeting with Glóin in Rivendell after he wakes up. And in particular, we were discussing the extent to which... Oh wait, it's a siege breaker, I don't need him. But he probably wants me now. Just noticed that he was the wrong sort of chap for my quest there. Oh well. Anyway, so yeah, anyway, we were discussing Glóin and Frodo, and we were talking about what, so he, Glóin, says that the dwarves of Erebor have exceeded the works of their fathers. They can't compete with them in metal work, but that they have exceeded them in building. And we were talking about, like, what exactly does that mean? What is he saying? In what sense, are they exceeding the works of their fathers from before? And we were speculating, that one of the most sensible ways to understand that passage is basically to be thinking that he is essentially saying that their technology is improved. They have improved in better techniques for building and carving. They've lost many of the techniques of and like the pure artistry, right? They are not as skilled as their fathers in metalwork, perhaps, but that they have made sort of technological advances for building and for working with stone. And that seems to me a very plausible reading of that passage. So this is back to Madman Modeler's concept of the dwarves being sort of technologically, kind of with it. And so might it not be that they could, like make clocks, etc., so that wouldn't be an anachronism in The Hobbit. And I'm not sure. Hang on a second, I don't need that guy. Why am I chasing him? I need just siege breakers now. Well, I got a harrier on my tail here. Okay. I need Mordor siege breakers. Is that another harrier? Yeah, I'm not interested in you anymore. Hang on. There's a siege breaker. Okay. Oh, right, it's the croft defilers I don't want. Okay, right, so these are the bigger ones. All right. Anyhow, so I am trying to think of examples of the dwarves making machines, for instance. And I can't think of any obvious examples in the text of the dwarves really making, again, something that we would sort of call technological, that is specifically complex machines. And I can't really think of any, so I don't really know that the dwarves would. That Tolkien imagined his dwarves doing that kind of thing. Oh yeah, hide in the corner, why don't you? We want to just dismount and do this on foot like civilized people? Alright, I need one more siege breaker. Ideally without aggroing all of the rest of the world's orcs. Okay. That's a croftifier. Okay, hang on, I just gotta find this guy. Harrier. Random horse. Checking this field down here. Hang on. No, that's a croftifier. That's a harrier. Oh, that is a siege breaker. There. Him. You. Okay. So, would I suspect the dwarves of manufacturing Bilbo's clock? No, I would not. Now, as for the Númenóreans, didn't the Númenóreans have this sort of technology as well? Okay. Yes. Yes, they sort of did. Arguably, I'm aggroing a few too many people here. Arguably, also, I should probably heal myself. Can't? Can't heal myself in mounted combat? Huh. That's interesting. Well, I do have a bunch of company here, don't I? Alright, hang on, I might need to come out of this and come back in. Of the combat, I mean. Okay, that's one way to do it. Cool. So, alright. Here, orcs. Oh, that's the croftifier again. I'll sneak up on him. Okay. So, Númenóreans. Did the Númenóreans have this kind of technology? Yes, they did. Well, okay. At different points, Tolkien seems to have thought of this differently. I'm not convinced he ever really changed his mind, but he dialed it back within the text a good deal. So, in the early days, when he, at the very first time that he was telling the Númenórean story, and this was back in the mid-30s, right before The Hobbit was published, after he'd written The Hobbit, but before The Hobbit was published. I'm going to sneak up and backstab him, and then I'm going to mount up. That'll be fun. Anyway, so that's when he wrote the Númenórean stuff for the first time. Hey, that was fun. Oh, off he goes. Anyway, so yeah, so that's when he wrote the Númenórean stuff for the first time. And when he did, he was very clear on the fact that the Númenóreans, they were not like a magical people. They were a technologically advanced people. He described them fairly clearly, having flying machines and cannon and things like that. I mean, I think I've talked about this before, but the thing that the thing that made them dangerous even to Valinor, even to the Valar themselves, was the fact that they had guns when they showed up in Middle-earth and when Ar-Pharazôn shows up and daunts Sauron's army, he does that through artillery fire. The orcs all run away Sauron's armies all run away because when they fire their guns, their big guns, and Sauron's army wants nothing to do with them after that point. So he even describes, and it's quite ominous, the armies of Ar-Pharazôn when he advances on Valinor. The armies of Ar-Pharazôn, and like the smoke and steam from their ships. They clearly have like armored steamships and flying ships as well, and that's what they're bringing against Valinor. So we have what is essentially this sort of modern, modern army. In a sense, the attack of Ar-Pharazôn against Valinor, it's almost like, the modern army, this modern 20th century army attacks, the Blessed Realm, essentially. It's almost like the modern world coming in and assaulting Faerie in Tolkien's imagination. So it's a fascinating sort of moment here. Okay, all right, sorry, Ethelwald, I'll try to go to your coordinates here. 60 south, 63 west. Okay, so I need to go north, I guess, and further west. Oh, okay. Okay, anyway, so it is true that he did envision the Númenóreans in this way from the beginning. But as I say, he kind of backed down on that to some extent. Certainly his description of the battles against Sauron in the later versions, like in the version you can find in the Akallabeth in the published Silmarillion, he doesn't specify what it is about the armies of the Númenóreans that so daunted the orcs. Is just the greatness of their army in some sense, or was it more than that? He doesn't say, right? Nor does he describe with the same kind of detail nor does he describe in the same kind of detail that I've got to go all the way back to the other side of Snowbourne, I thought. Oh man. Okay. Anyway, okay, yeah, that's pretty far west from here, I thought. But alright, I told you I'd go to your coordinates, so I'll go to your coordinates. At least I'm done with my mounted combat there. Oh, I found a battered harp. Okay, right, that's what Horn was having me do? Okay, fine. Anyway, so as I say, Tolkien doesn't talk about this as much with the Númenóreans later on, but I'm not 100% convinced that he actually totally changed his mind about it. He just doesn't emphasize it as much, and doesn't anymore talk about the Númenóreans flying ships and stuff like that. But I am not convinced that that's not how he was picturing it still, even in later versions, like the version that gets published in the Akallabeth. And you can even see some evidence of this, the walls of Minas Tirith and the walls of the Tower of Orthanc. Okay, all right. I thought I'm approaching now. West of the city, what? In the middle of the river? So where am I going? Hang on. 60. South, 60. Okay, I'm still not far enough west. And we're swimming. Okay. All right. We're swimming. Okay, north from here? In the river. Yeah, Phil, exactly. You can see that there's another... Oh. Peculiar man who appears to be riding an Avank. Okay. Yeah, I did miss this guy. Oh. Ah, you're facing the other way here. Hi! Are you riding a dead Avank? Looks like he broke his neck. He just has his head on his side as he's snoozing.
Oh, this is intolerable!
Ah, a wizard of Dunland. While I would not normally stoop for asking for aid, it seems my Avank has grown tired. To learn of more magics from the Easterlings. Oh dear. Okay. I'm remembering him, but only vaguely. Oh, he was the one who was breeding crows, Hologro. Yes. Is he the one who had, like, made a ring of power for himself and was... Yeah, right. Okay, I do remember him. Yes, the guy who was trying to become a Saruman clone. Right, absolutely. Okay. Alright, wow, look at that. What new deed did I accomplish? Oh, Quest of the Sutcrofts already. There we go. Let's see, what do we have here?
Stay and hear me out!
Rook glances down, his face betraying deep disappointment. This Avank has a very peculiar taste for meat. It will only eat the finest of meats from the strongest of the beasts in Rohan. Okay. You want meat from the most dangerous beasts in the Sutcrofts. It's not like a most dangerous game reference, is it?
Will you let me speak my piece?
He was so spry this morning, but now he will not budge. Perhaps he's thirsty. You want me to... You're in the middle of a river, and you want me to fetch him some water. Alright. Yeah, I know. I remember making him the ring and cloak now. It's all coming back to me. Okay. What are there, like aurochs or something that I'm supposed to get him meat for? Or from? From which I'm supposed to get meat? Other Avanks, maybe? Wolverines! Aha! Right on. I see. Oh, yeah? Take that. Come, Wolverine, I shall duel you to the death. Okay. All right. So, Marielle was asking, do I think that the change, that is, his de-emphasis on the technology of the Numenorians, is the result of Tolkien having a clearer world-building vision, or because he got less angry about technology? The former. I think it's all about the clarity of his world-building vision. That's certainly how I would characterize it. It is my sense that he... This is a guess, you know, this is me guessing what Tolkien was thinking, which is always dangerous. Not that I refuse to do it, but it's always dangerous. And so I don't know. But my guess would be that he was, he did feel it to be, I don't know what, those passages to be like a little bit jarring, or you know, just not really fitting. So I do think that it's the world building. This fits very much in. This fits very much in with what we see at, you know, various other points during this same time period. And to do a little plug again, for my Morgoth's Ring class, which I have been just absolutely loving. I feel like I have learned so much in that class so far. Still learning more every week. Just such an eye-opening experience. Okay, sorry, I'm looking for that bucket. Anyway, the whole thing that we're studying in Morgoth's Ring, what Volume 10 of the History of Middle-earth, called Morgoth's Ring, is about. It's about the... okay, where's the... Well, the bucket is further out, not further in? Okay. Morgoth's Ring shows us what happens when he tries to... when he comes back to try to work on the Silmarillion stuff after the Lord of the Rings. And Marielle, as you know, that's all about the world building stuff, right? He is trying to fit the Silmarillion legends in with... that was the idea. In with the story world now that he has created in the Lord of the Rings. Okay.
Why are you bothering me? This is intolerable.
Okay, so
Will you let me speak my piece?
Give him a good talking to. But that begins to make this sound like a bingo quest. There you go. Alright, I'm going to whistle in his ear. Uh-oh. Yeah. Well, when I saw his head, I was rather suspecting that, yeah, this is not an Avunk that is merely pining for the fjords, I think.
Oh, this is intolerable.
It's intolerable to be riding
much of you.
dead Avunk. Rook is looking increasingly agitated. It appears that he has finally realized that his Avunk has met its end. I did this? I will take that beautiful war steed of yours and you can have this Avunk.
This is intolerable.
I must travel east and finally gain all of the knowledge I need to become a wizard, and I will not stand... You're gonna fist fight me now? We're gonna engage in some fisticuffs, are we? Should I disarm? I feel unsporting coming after you with a sword. But then again, you have more morale points than I do, so... You know, I guess I shouldn't be too particular. Let's see. I shall trifle with you no longer. One day you will understand the power this wizard wields. Okay. Oh, hang on. There's more with the hunk. Okay. All right. Excellent. Very good. Very good. Thank you, Ethelot. I would have missed Rook. I did not sufficiently explore the river. Yeah, that Avunk has definitely ceased to be and gone to meet its maker. Okay, anyway, so Marielle, yes, the shifts to the Númenórean stuff, I do believe to be primarily about world building, because that's what he was doing. Remember that when he wrote the Silmarillion legends at first, including the including the Silmarillion material about Numenor, right? Numenor was originally, the Numenorian stuff was originally a sequel to the First Age, basically. It was a sequel to the material he had already written, the Legends of the Eldar in the First Age. And these were... I know it's sometimes hard for people to kind of... We think about Tolkien as a world builder first and foremost, right? One of the things that makes the Lord of the Rings, that has led to the Lord of the Rings having such an impression on so many people, is the depth and the texture of Tolkien's world building. Everybody knows this, and many people appreciate this. And so often we kind of think of Tolkien as this intrinsic world builder, right? Which, of course, in many ways he was, but it's easy to forget that before he wrote The Lord of the Rings, he wasn't writing that kind of story. He was writing detached legends and mythology in the Silmarillion, and he was writing detached and independent sort of fairy tale, essentially, in The Hobbit. Neither The Hobbit nor the Silmarillion was really, did he do the kind of world building that he becomes known for later on in the Lord of the Rings. And so there are a lot of things that are just kind of floating out there that don't really sort of fit consistently together in the same way that we would expect, right, from what we think of as Tolkien's normal MO. And I would certainly put the clock on Bilbo's mantelpiece in this category, right? People call it an anachronism. I think that's totally unfair, right? It retroactively becomes an anachronism, right, when Tolkien becomes more consistent about the world that he's telling, the world that he's describing. But The Hobbit is just this fun little independent story. Bilbo can have a clock if he wants to have a clock. Who's to say he can't have a clock? Why shouldn't he have a clock?
Welcome, my friend.
Why shouldn't he have a clock any more than he has a solicitor, right? It's fine. But later on, post Lord of the Rings, it becomes at least a little bit of an issue, right? Because we have not ever seen that same kind of thing anywhere else, and so it seems to be inconsistent with the much more fully realized and articulated world that develops over the course of Tolkien's writing The Lord of the Rings. And of course, as I say, in Morgoth's Ring, we can see him going back and attempting to assert that same kind of consistency on the Silmarillion legends, integrating those things fully into that new and newly articulated world of the Lord of the Rings. And so, Marielle, I absolutely agree with you, therefore, that is exactly when the Numenorians lost a lot of their tech, because he felt like it didn't fit. It's one thing to say they have superior techniques in various ways, right? That's one thing. But it's a different thing actually I think when it came to actually depicting Numenorian flying ships and Numenorian artillery batteries and things like that, he was no, he didn't like it. He didn't want to do it. But again, I am not convinced that it wasn't true, that he had really changed the concept entirely, but he toned it down for the sake of the legends. And why? Because now the texts themselves, right? There's a story behind the texts themselves. So the account of the Akallabeth is passed down through the peoples of Middle-earth. They wouldn't even have known what these things were, right? They wouldn't have known how to describe them. So instead we get the vague language, right? I think because it's as much about him fitting the Numenorian story textually to the worldview, right, that came after it, as it was technologically. So instead of giving details about their flying ships and stuff, because they wouldn't even really get that or know about that, so he just describes the glory and awe and terror of the Numenorian army in very vague terms, such as the terms that might have been handed down to later generations of post Numenorian exiles and the people among whom they lived, right? So that's where I think he's being sort of even, sort of more and more consistent in that way. But I don't think that Bilbo could have had a Numenorian clock anyway, even if the Numenorians did have clocks, which they almost certainly did. They're the ones who invented the calendars and stuff, after all. Anyway, it's very possible that they would have had clocks, but they wouldn't be described. Bilbo wouldn't have one, certainly. So, yeah, Ethel, the talking purse of the trolls is another classic example of one of those things which, like, does it make sense? Does it fit in the rest of the Lord of the Rings world? No, it doesn't. Right? Did it fit in The Hobbit? Absolutely, it fits in The Hobbit, right? It's a fun fairy tale thing. Sometimes artifacts talk, right? Read the Kalevala if you don't believe me. And Tolkien was reading a lot of the Kalevala. He loved that stuff. So you've got the talk, trolls' purses are the mischief. That sentence is a reward in itself, right? And there are many things in The Hobbit, which don't any longer fit within the world that he establishes in the Lord of the Rings, but that's okay. He doesn't go back and change them, right? There's a lot of things that are unironed out in The Hobbit, and he just lived with it, right? Bilbo's clock, the troll's purse, the stone giants, right? He ditched stone giants in the Lord of the Rings. He decided there are no giants in Middle-earth, but he left them in The Hobbit because he never revised it. This, I think, is one of the reasons why Tolkien always wanted to revise The Hobbit, partly because he wanted to change the tone, he wanted it to fit better as a prequel to The Lord of the Rings, but also in these ways, I think. Anyway, all right, Winzig, how are you? Let's see, another female Thane, of course. Do you have shield-maidens? I don't see any shield-maidens. I'm going to be on the lookout. Yes, you do. I see one back there. Yeah, they are very progressive down here in the Sutcrofts.
Our mission is dire.
Okay, Winzig. What business have I here? I bring word from Snowburn. So Fostred is concerned by the outpouring of orcs into our lands, as am I, since they pour onto my doorstep. Fostred may be brash, but I respect his leadership. If he has sent you to us, he must trust in your skill as well. Now then, if you wish to see Walstow survive another week, we must move at once. I do wish that. Let us move.
The Rohirrim have need of your services.
You have seen the state of Walstow. I am certain you can tell that things look grim for us. The crofters cannot even approach their fields, and the orcs have set up camps to the north and south, effectively blocking us from any dealings with Snowburn. The crofters are losing hope, and I blame them not. If you would, please speak with them. You have given so many in the Sutcrofts hope already. To see that in my own people again would be so inspiring, even if only for today. All right, let's do some. Let's pull a Gandalf and inspire folks. All right. Okay, so Rupinderpal says, what other changes were there to the Hobbit post-Lord of the Rings, like the changes to Bilbo and Gollum's meeting? So the change to Bilbo and Gollum's meeting is the primary shift in the Hobbit. There are a few other relatively minor details, like I think the second most significant change to the Hobbit post-Lord of the Rings is the introduction of the word mithril in the description of Bilbo's mithril coat. In the original Hobbit, the coat that Thorin gave him was a coat of silver steel, we are told, without really much of an explanation of what silver steel is. Does that mean is it a separate? Is it like silvered steel, which I think is probably what he meant, like they're steel rings, but they've been coated with silver, so they look especially shiny. I suspect that that's what he meant when he first wrote that. But of course, after the fact, silver steel comes to be like a new element, right? Mithril. It is a completely different kind of metal, not element necessarily, but an entirely new kind of metal, right? So he introduces the word mithril to the Hobbit in the 3rd edition, I believe. So I can't remember if it was the 2nd or 3rd edition. I think it might be the 2nd edition, but I'm not positive. Anyway, so that's, I mean, it's only like one word, right? He takes out silver steel, hyphenated, and replaces it with mithril. Very, very small touch, really, but of course pretty significant. And obviously because the mithril coat becomes a fairly major player, right, moving forward. So he makes sure to sort of rectify that. But apart from that, that's really kind of it. The revised edition of The Hobbit, the way that the Chapter 5 change happened, Rupinder Paul, I don't know if you know the story, Tolkien was surprised by that. He knew that the original Chapter 5 of The Hobbit wouldn't work anymore. And for those of you who don't know, very, very brief summary. In the first edition of The Hobbit, the deal between Gollum and Bilbo was that if Bilbo won the game, Gollum would give him a present, and if Gollum won the game, he would eat Bilbo. The real game proceeds exactly as you know it, and when Gollum fails to guess the "what have I got in my pocket" question, he acknowledges that he's been defeated in the contest, and he offers to let him out. Well, he is going to give him a present, and he goes back to his island to find the present that he's going to give to him, which is the ring, of course. And he realizes it's not there, and he's so apologetic. He comes rushing back, and he's like, I am so sorry. I can't find the present. I'm horribly embarrassed. I'm covered with shame. What can I do? And Bilbo is like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. And he offers him some fish, and Bilbo's like, no, I'm good. And then he says, and Bilbo says, why don't you lead me out instead as a reward instead of a present? And Gollum's like, okay. And he leads him out, and they shake hands, and he apologizes again, and Bilbo says not to mention it, and he leaves. That's the original version of the Bilbo and Gollum story. Now, Tolkien knew, after writing the beginning of the Lord of the Rings, and once the whole as soon really as the whole Ring of Power, Ringwraith story began to emerge in his mind, he realized that story couldn't possibly work, so he wrote the new version. He revised the Gollum, not only just to show Gollum's, anger, right, and to insert the thief we hates it forever business, which was not in the original version, but also to show Gollum as sort of more corrupt. Gollum is much more sinister in the later version. And by the way, when you look carefully word by word, Sparrow Alden, Signum professor and former MA student, has done a lot of really good work on this in her Hobbit word stuff. Words That You Were Saying is the name of her blog, where she discusses all these things. And what she shows is that if you look at the major different, like on a word-by-word basis, one of the primary differences between the later version of the story and the earlier version of the story is that Tolkien adds more sound words. He makes Gollum sound creepier, and it's really interesting. But anyhow, okay, so Tolkien wrote that, right? After he wrote that, he got to this place in the Lord of the Rings draft where he had decided all these things. He goes back and so he sends it to his publisher, just asking him for his opinion. He's like, hey, what do you think about this? Like, he was trying to start a conversation about, like, maybe do we consider, changing it, right? Doing a different version of the text. But it was just like, he just sent it to him for his perusal, right? But it was right at the time when the publisher was planning to do a new printing of The Hobbit anyway, so he includes it. And so when the next printing comes out and they send Tolkien a copy of it, he looks at it and he's like, holy crap, there's the new version of Chapter 5 that I wrote right in there, right? The thing that primarily I think, so Tolkien was like surprised, and he was not like 100. I mean, he wrote him a letter being like, dude, like I wasn't telling you just to include it, right? I wanted your input on it. And I think the reason why Tolkien was not just delighted, I mean, he wanted it, right? He did want to make the change. But the reason I think that Tolkien was less than 100% delighted is I suspect that Tolkien would have wanted to put in a preface as well. Some explanation in the prologue, like a prologue in The Hobbit explaining the textual variants, right? Rather than just coming out with a second edition that was totally different with no explanation of it at all, right? So that, you know, somebody buys a new copy of The Hobbit and they're like, hey, this story is different than it used to be, right? I bet you that he would have wanted to put some kind of prefatory material in there to explain, as he does in The Lord of the Rings, right, how this story came to be changed. And Phil, it is also possible that he was grinding his teeth a little bit, thinking like, well, had I known you were willing to do these kinds of wholesale changes to the text, I had some other things I might have done, right? And that's why I think, if I'm remembering correctly, and I might be wrong, I think the Mithril change was the third edition. So like the second edition was this like spontaneous second edition that Tolkien didn't even know about in a sense. And then later on he did go back and make some other changes. And the Mithril, I think, comes in at that point. I'm not 100% sure whether it was second or third edition, but anyway.
What
Hubert,
brings you to these lands?
you've been waiting patiently. I am the one Snowburn sent to save you. I am. I have heard of your exploits, and I can only hope that you will be the one to save us from the orcs. We have lost so much and so many. I know not how much more we can endure. I can hug him, calm him, flex, or tell him a story. Okay. I'm gonna hug him. Yeah, it's okay, Hubert. Yeah. All will be well. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm not sure that hugging was Gandalf's #1 method when it came to, you know, inspiring people with courage and confidence. But, you know, personally, I think Gandalf probably underutilized it as a technique. Hi there, Adelgifu.
What brings you to these lands?
What does it matter now? Even if we are saved, the entire harvest is lost. My croft was burned to the ground by orcs, and now look at our town. We have but moments left. Winsig is a great leader, but she cannot face a force of this strength. None among us can, and I cannot believe that any brighter days lie ahead. Okay, your croft was just burned to the... Maybe you do need a hug. I think we just need to hug the people of Walstow. Painfully uncomfortable with what just occurred. But Chewie seems to be distracted. Well, there we go. There we go. See? Come on now, people. Loosen up. All right. Egelferth. Guard Captain, you need a hug too.
What brings you to these lands?
I came from Winsig. Yep, she is a bold leader. My men and I have fought hard to keep Walstow from these fiends, and so far we have survived. Confuse not our town's disrepair with weakness. We have fought the orcs from the wall constantly, and we have lost only a few crofts. The orcs rally to the north and south, but my men and I still hold strong. They will not breach our defenses, and when the time comes we shall deliver such a blow that they shall never dare to return to Rohan. Your prowess precedes you, but know this, you will have to earn my respect. Now then, I am sure Winsig has many a task for you, as she does for us all. So you don't need a hug, is what you're saying. Okay, fine. Fine. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm supposed to salute him. Right on. Okay. All right. There we go. I would totally have hugged him. You're right, Ethelot. It would have made the trip through besieged Minas Tirith a whole lot longer and more awkward for Gandalf. But see, like, when everyone is in despair, like, while Theoden is... Or not Theoden, while Denethor is, falling into despair, and the ring wraiths are above the city and lobbing the decapitated heads of soldiers into the city and stuff. Did Gandalf quietly go around hugging folks on the battlements? Probably not, but I think he could have done, and I'm not sure it wouldn't have helped. Denethor totally needs a hug, Edith. I mean, right? I think we can all agree that Denethor really, really needed a hug. All right, Walstow. Folks have been hugged.
Our mission is dire.
Thank you for speaking with each of my people. Morale has been very low of late, and I need the trust of my people as we move forwards. I have many thoughts on what we can do to secure Walstow from the orcs, but their risk is great. All right. What do you got?
The
We have neither
Rohirrim
the
will
time
need
nor the
your
means
aid.
to restore all of Walstow, but I believe you can aid us with some small repairs. Along the stream to the west, there are a great number of reeds. These reeds can be used to repair the roofs. Okay, however, these reeds are very close to the orc camps. It is more than likely that you may quickly find yourself surrounded by orcs while there. Okay. Still an old reed collection quest. Doesn't seem like the most dangerous quest I've ever been sent on, so... I like roofs, Edith. Yeah. I think roofs is cool. Let's see. Okay, right down south of the city, so I better cross the bridge here. Isn't this an orc bridge? This looks almost exactly like the bridges that the orcs build in, like, the North Downs. What is hanging here? What are these things? I have no idea what that is. It looks like a very large weight for a fishing line. This looks like somebody's satchel just hanging here. Like somebody's knitting bag or something. And why is there a ginormous tusk here? Toad Station says the things hanging on the bridge are hobbits who ask too many questions about the bridge. Right. Yeah. Fair enough. So yeah, the Tusk suggest they had a team of Lothoth contractors come down here to build it. Yeah. Winsig seems like a really good leader. I would look at that. What's hanging down underneath? Are those more bones? What are those rags for? And more tusks. Look, if Winsig didn't seem like such an upstanding person, I would suspect her of hiring orcish contractors to build this bridge. Because this is an orcish model. Right? This is an orcish model. Huh. Yeah, doesn't it look like the orc bridges from the North Downs? I really think it does. I'm trying to explain that. Hang on, this is Let's see. Obviously, this bridge can't, in fact, be constructed by orcs. Though I kind of like the idea, Pineleaf, that the orcs were attacking from the south, burned the original bridge, and then decided that they needed a bridge in order to sack the rest of the town. So they came back and constructed this new bridge in order to get to the northern part of the town. I like that, but the fact that there's anybody left alive down here, it doesn't really fit with that. So that won't really work. I think we have to imagine that this bridge was constructed by the Rohirrim, despite the fact that it ends with like pointy, sharpened stakes rather than like nice horsehead things. So there has to be an explanation for this. So let's think of one. Why would they, that is, whoever the bridge architect here in Walstow was, decide to build a bridge inspired by the orc bridges of the North Downs? I think there was a guy in Walstow who traveled into the north, right? And he must have done, right? So at Walstow, yeah, okay. So you can cross the bridge, but you have to go around really far, right? So back in the old days in Walstow, there didn't used to be a bridge here at all, because they were like, yeah, we don't really know how to build a bridge across this, you know, it's too deep and everything, we can't really build a bridge. So they used to just go around all the time for quite a ways, and it was really a pain, until one day the bridge architect, you know, this guy went on his travels and he made it into the North Downs, and he saw these orc bridges up there, and he was like, hey, that's a model. They've got, you know, these like rocky gulfs here, and they've put these bridges across. So he's like, I'm gonna not tell anybody that it. I'm not gonna tell anybody that it comes from here. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna follow this model. And he brought back the tusks with him as well, you see. And that's why it's the only thing in the town that's decorated with these huge tusks. Because I'm not even sure I think these are mammoth tusks. Or maybe they're oryx horns, but I think they're mammoth tusks. Exactly, JJ. His choices were Orc Bridge or Trestle Bridge, right? And this was the one that fit within the budgetary specifications, right, that he was given in the public works budget from Walstow. So he comes home and he says, all right, I know a way to do it. And they're like, okay, do it. And so he makes it, and he made it just like the orcs did, just like the ones that he saw. And they were like, that's not real attractive. It doesn't exactly fit in with the aesthetic of the town. And he's like, but you can cross the river. And they're like, that's true. And he brought home with him also all of these like mammoth tusks that he got up there. And they were like, yeah, those are interesting. We don't really want them anywhere else. But you know what? Your bridge, man, will hang. And so that's why they hang some of them down here underneath where almost nobody could see them, because they thought they were kind of embarrassing. Like, he insisted on this one. And so, like, to honor the memory of the architect who actually did enable them to be able to cross and to be able to, because now, you know, because they always had their mill, right? Their water mill down here on the south bank. And everyone was so sick of carting the sacks of meal and flour all the way around, right, and having to try to cross them in the ford, because goodness knows, you know, you're trying to cross with sacks of flour across the ford, and you get them wet and they're ruined. And so, I mean, just having a bridge right here was so valuable that they're like, you know what, we'll hang one of your ugly tusks right here in the middle, right, but the other ones we're going to hang underneath, because, you know, that's just sort of the way it is. We're contractually obligated to put them up. And they were like, you know, there are some definite aesthetic improvements that we could make to this, but they never really got around to it, and then the orcs attacked. So I think that that's probably the story of how this very orcish looking bridge ended up in Walstow. Now, you are absolutely right Phil, that it is theoretically possible that the ones in the north were derived from this, that this was the original bridge, and the orcs of the north copied this on their way through. But I highly doubt that, because we're told that the orcs only just very recently came here, so I can't imagine that they've had time to import this design, export, I should say, this design, and bring it all the way up into the north. So, yeah, I think that's probably the explanation. And so on the whole, you know, there are a bunch of people who still complain that this bridge is a terrible eyesore in the town and just does not fit the architectural aesthetic of the rest of the town, but they are so delighted at having the convenience of being able to cross the river right next to the mead hall, and with a bridge that's defensible, I mean, and easily thrown down, so, you know, that's all very handy. So that's the story of how there comes to be an orc-designed bridge in Walstow, I'm sure. Exactly, Dragon Rider. It looks very easy to destroy in case of attack, which it makes it very practical. That would have been, of course, you know, one of the other reasons that they didn't originally build a bridge is that, of course, most of their bridges, Rohirrim bridges in general, I mean, were wooden bridges, right? You know, much stronger bridges. And so, and, you know, I bet some of the old thanes of Walstow were all like, we can't build this. What are we going to, like, build attackers like a highway straight into the mead hall, right? The whole point of building the mead hall on this, you know, on this sort of shelf of the, you know, this shoulder of the river is to make it defensible, right? To make it sort of less accessible to everybody. So, you know, it would be ridiculous to build a big old bridge, right? I mean, just like ask Turambar about building bridges across rivers right up to your front gates, right? Doesn't usually end well. So they were kind of anti-bridge in general. But again, that's why this guy is like, hey, got the solution, right? I know how we can do the bridge. I know how we can do the bridge and do it in a way that is gonna not compromise this, you know, the safety of the town and of the mead hall. So, yeah, but it took a guy traveling a ways, and he took to his grave the secret that it was from orcs. They all assumed that it was from, like, these sort of, like, barbarian peoples from the north, you know, that he got this design, right? And he apologized for it being cruder than the rest of their architecture. But again, they assumed it was some kind of, like, you know, like the hillmen of the north or something. So, yeah, I think that's, yeah. And was it the old man from Scene 24? Very likely. Yeah, very likely. Okay. Yeah, Ethelwald says you probably shouldn't ask Turin anything. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, Turin is of little avail as a counselor. That's for sure. Oh man, I was trying to just ignore this guy and see, but it's really annoying because I can't attack these guys from stealth because they pop up like right after. Let me see if I can. Okay. Oh, sure. Nobody pops up when I'm all ready for them. Okay, here we are. And one last one. I was going to see if I could stealth and leave them behind, but of course they don't. They don't even come. Fine. All right. Okay. I got the reeds. JJ says if Turin Turambar approached the Bridge of Death, he would fail on the "What is your name?" question. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Whoa, I don't know that. Yeah, very true. think I can unstealth myself. This is my favorite Rohan song. Okay. Here you go, Winston. Got some thatching for you.
Will you aid the horse lords?
I hope the orcs did not cause you too much trouble. No, it was fine. I will alert my men and have them begin repairs while you and I continue work on reinforcing Walstow. Okay. Hey, conversation. Tell me about
Our
yourself.
mission is dire.
I am the Thane. Our situation is dire, is all you can tell me about yourself. I am Thane Winsig of Walstow, though I be only 16 years of age. Really? No kidding. I will allow not any to think me weak or unfit for such a title. My line is one of a proud history, though I alone survive now. My father fell in the same battle that claimed Reeve Dagrid. Oh dear. My love, Derwina, has gone to serve at Edoras, and I have long awaited the day when we are again united. I intend to hold Walstow to my very last, though some of my men do not stand with me in this view. I will not falter in this charge. Wow. A 16-year-old girl in charge of the town. That is awesome. What is the state of
Will you
Walstow?
aid the horse lords?
Walstow was once a beautiful settlement, but we have fallen on rough times as of late. Please disregard the rather orcish bridge. I know, it's fine. The orcs constantly spill forth from the east wall, and we must defend ourselves from their assaults daily. My people have begun to lose hope, but I hugged them, so they're good now. And the town itself has started to fall into disrepair. I will not be moved by the violence of our foes, but I know not how long Walstow will stand without aid. Fortunately, I'm here to aid and to hug. Yeah, I know, Derwina.
Will you aid the horse lords?
I know. Fostred can be hard to reach. Have I sought aid from the Reeve? While our fathers fell in the same battle that is the sole common ground between us, I think the Reeve too brash for his own good. He is sooner to get himself killed than to address the needs of his people. Funny you should say that, Winsig. Nonetheless, the orcs are to blame for our predicament. To the west and south, they have essentially blocked all contact between Walstow and Snowbourne, and until these orcs are brought to heel, our situation can only worsen. Oh man. Okay, wait, what new task am I meant to undergo here? You didn't give me one. That's it? Really? Okay. No new quests, huh? We'll go see if anybody else needs another oh, loot, possibly? Yeah, hang on a second, let me check that out. No quests in the loot. Yeah. No, we're good. Okay, oh wait, here we go. Got some folks here. I bet she's changed her mind and wants another hug. Hi, Dalgifu. What do you think?
Our success
The
depends
orcs have
upon our
laid waste
strength.
to our crops, and
Will
barely
you
any of
aid
our
us?
crops still stand. We will soon find ourselves starving if we do not harvest anything and leave it to the orcs to finish what they have begun. Go to the crofts to the west. When I fled, I saw some of the wheat still standing amid the destruction. Okay. I shall gather bundles of wheat. And now my other intimate friend.
The Rohirrim have need of your services.
Okay, I have another task for you if you can spare the time. The guard captain is requested to aid in assembling new barricades. Okay, he's got the materials already, he just needs them positioned. Okay. Sure. Erect barricades. Alright, you don't have any quests for me, but that's okay. So, where's the stuff? Oh, here we go, hang on. This is a defensible location. Do I have the stuff? I do. Okay. Okay, look at that. Look at that. If that doesn't inspire confidence, what will? Let's see. Are there meant to be other defensible locations in town? He said the edge of town. And yet, the area, the purple area, is all south of me. Okay. Looking for more defensible locations. Yeah, I feel good about protecting that patch of grass. Oh man, whose house is up here? No, it's the same one. Yeah, oh look at this. This is very defensible. Can't get up here at all. Okay. No problem. Do I have to go build barricades down here too? Aha, yes I do. Here we go. How many are supposed to be? 8 of them? Really? I think I'd need to find more defensible rocks. Oh, here we go. Alright. Let's hope the orcs are courteous enough to queue up at these barricades. Oh no, this is great. Oh yeah, I got a whole solid ring down here. I mean, I say solid. By solid, I mean a small barricade every, 25 feet or so, but... Oh, hey, look, there's another one over here. See, this is what they used to have to do. See, you can even see the old path, right? This is doubtless where they used to, come ashore from swimming across with the sacks of grain. They were so grateful for that ugly bridge. Okay. Now, here we go. Oh, I've got more defensible locations than I have barricade materials. Well, it'll have to do. Okay. And bundles of wheat. Where are my bundles of wheat? Oh, they're way out there, huh? Okay. I can't perform a mountain move. Oh, because I'm still technically in the town. Got it. Okay. Let's see. Okay, alright, this is correct. So there's meant to be some wheat around here in the desolate crofts. Ah, indeed. Got it. We're harvesting. Oh, hang on. Wait, what did I do? I sliced the wheat and split it into smaller bundles? Oh my goodness. My harvesting skills have really improved. I'll just have to click on 12 of these, but apparently I'm only gonna have to click on 3. I can harvest this stuff while still mounted? No way. We have to try that. Oh, excellent. That's good. So yeah, harvesting grain from horseback. It's kind of like polo for peasants. right? I think that's kind of the idea. Okay. Hey, look, there's a black horse right there. And orcs running all around and not stealing the black horse. Not that they should. I'm not recommending it, but I don't endorse the stealing of black horse by orcs. But I'm just saying, they're being remarkably restrained. I mean, more than I would have expected. Okay. Back in my day, we had to dismount to harvest things. I know, that's why I dismounted. I was assuming that I would. I didn't even realize. Okay. All right. Coming back to my recently hugged friends. Yeah, I was going to say there's got to be a more direct way into town. Riding all the way up there. Okay. Coming around the first bend. Whoop. Wow. Wait, she doesn't want to talk to me? Yeah, she's like, I'll send you after the harvest, but please take it to Winsig. She's just afraid of a second hug, I think. Okay.
Our mission is dire.
Yeah, those barricades will be no end of help, I think. Glad that I could erect the barricades while you carry on your important lounging activity. And don't think I didn't notice that you're going to go off and take credit for this. Oh, wait, that's right. She doesn't want to talk to me for some reason. So I'm supposed to go back and talk to the Thane. All right.
What brings you to these lands?
Okay, this was a risky move, but if we were to claim any of our remaining crops, we had to harvest them now or risk losing everything to the orcs. Oh, hey, no problem. I can go back to dangerous farms anytime.
The Rohirrim
As I
will
have said, the
need
orcs have
your
been mustering
aid.
the camps to the north and south. I fear that what they have planned for us, but I know it cannot be anything good. I want you to scout these camps. Also, some of our riders have not yet returned. If you see them in your travels, please bring it to my attention. Shouldn't I help them? Okay, scout the camps. Scouting quests always make me nervous. All right. No, hang on. Okay, both of the orc camps. No, I've been to the one in the north. Well, guess I'm supposed to start with the southern one. All right. Crossing the rope bridge on a war steed should be okay. Oh, strong work, carry on. Very discreet. Oh, you just jumped off the cliff. Hey! But you did it! I was trying to go over the river and not swim. So that worked. Okay, where am I supposed to go? I just, somewhere vaguely around here? This is why I hate scouting quests. Because I have to, find the exact spot to trigger a successful scout. There we go. Right! I too noticed that a large orc force seems to have set up camp here. now I go to the north one. Okay, there's the farm I was just at. Okay, here are the gates, somewhere around here maybe? There we go. Orc forces have cut through the barricade. Okay. Oh, a Rohirrim helm? Oh dear. Here, I'll dismount and fight you on foot like Aemir would. Okay. Notice some Rohirric regalia drop from his what? From his grip. Does that mean I got something in my loot bag? Yes, it does. I found more of the Rohirrim's trappings. Okay, so the fact that an orc is carrying his stuff leads me to suspect that he survived for some reason. Yeah, Edith, I agree. When Gryfflet says "Hiya," it's pretty adorable.
What do you need?
Stay away from me. My head, you meant to hurt me, he said. I am no savior of Rohan. Mordor will bring us glory and you stand in the way? What? Mordor will bring us glory? What is wrong with you? Who even says that? Is he a traitor or just confused? I mean, I'm confused, but that could just be me. A man in the dark robes approached me. I can remember nothing beyond. I have not the time to dwell on such curiosities. Dude, I'm not sure your returning to Walstow is a great idea. Who's fighting me? Oh. Blast. Mounted dude. I'm gonna go talk to Wincy. I'll ride past some of the barricades and he'll get daunted, I'm sure. See? Look at that. Gave up. All right. Let's see. Well, the story with that, Winzig. The camps have grown then. This does not bode well for Walstow. We cannot delay any longer. The fight must be brought to the orcs before they grow even further out of our control. Okay. You want me just to take them out? I can clean out both camps.
What brings you to these lands?
I know not what horror seized control of his mind like that. Once he wakes, I will speak with him. Thank you for bringing him back. I only hope he shall recover. Me too. What was up with him?
Our success depends upon our
Time has
strength.
come to make a
Will you
decisive
aid us?
strike against our enemies. To the west and south, orcs have set up their camps and intend to starve us out as more forces of Mordor pour in from the east. We cannot allow this to happen. I want you to travel to these camps and raise them. There you go. Good plan. If we can eliminate the orcs that already seek shelter in our lands, we will be much less ill-prepared to deal with the arrival of new foes. Okay, so complete circling the kill, borrowing barricades, a cut above, a controlled pyre, crippling the front. My goodness, I've got a lot of things to complete here. Ooh, and I get pocket items, which I can't use. Well, I mean, because I'm using my no XP thing, but that's okay. Wow. All right. Oh, good. You can actually give me some of these quests. Very good.
The Rohirrim will need your aid.
These orcs know nothing of retreat. They will throw themselves at our feet until finally we wither and fall. To the west, Fastred employs a far more terrifying tactic. He makes of our enemies' grim standards that litter the ground as reminders to his foes that he is not to be crossed. Whether the orcs pay this any heed, I know not. However, I know that Snowborn stands still, and Walstow enters its fleeting throes. I would not have us employ this strategy in Walstow. I would have us, as gruesome as it is. Okay. All right, you want me to behead orcs and collect spears? I'm going to bring you the raw materials. Okay, fine. All right, we can do that.
Will you aid the
The orcs have
Rohirrim?
made a great effort to reinforce their newfound holdings. Okay, destroy the barricades and collect wood scraps to make more barricades around here. Good plan.
Our
And
success
a
depends
great many
upon our
problems
strength.
have fallen on Walstow.
Will you aid us?
They slipped past our defenses and now roam the plains. Okay, defeat their riders, warg riders, and corruptors. Okay. All right. Doubt Gryfflet's going to finish all these quests here. Okay, somebody that's want to give me the other quests I need. A controlled pyre, for instance? No? Maybe I have to do these first? I can't get all 6 of them? Nothing further in my loot? Okay. Oh, you think they auto bestow? Okay, well that would be handy. Okay, let's see. Well, if I encounter any of those riders, I guess I could start that one. Warg riders and corruptors I'm looking for. Who was that annoying fellow who was throwing knives at me before? Oh, he's gone. I scared him off. I feel like it has been really... Oh. There's the river! Found the river! It has been super dark and rainy all day that I've been here, and that's been really annoying. Oh, I don't even need to kill you! You're a Croft Defiler. I need Corruptors and Warg Riders. Hey, were the Corruptors even mounted? Okay. Let's see. Ah, okay. Well, here's the entrance to the camp. Let's just sneak in here and see what we can do. Oh, no, it's not the entrance. That's the rock that interrupts the wall. This is the entrance. And the orc barricades that I am meant to... destroy. I got all kinds of things to do in here. Great. Alright, so I'm just going to... Does this defiler count against the defiler? I destroyed a barricade by accident? And I collected the wood scraps in the middle of the battle? Gryfflet is multitasking like crazy here. That's really impressive. I destroyed 2 barricades and collected their wood while in combat. Fascinating. Okay, I did all kinds of things there. Yeah, but not corruptors, because those are the mounted ones. That's what I was afraid of. Alright, let me see if I can do more multitasking, because that was fun. Alright. Hey, stay over here. Okay. Got that barricade. Alright, so let's see. Oh, hang on, I gotta do this one here. Overheard the orcs snarling of something that can only be the name of an orc. You should defeat the leader of this force and plunge the remaining orcs into disarray. Okay, defeat Falk. Great. Can do. Okay, come over here. Let's fight over here near this other one. Yeah, that's much better. Okay. Am I remembering to burgle these guys? No, not at all. Very far from remembering that. Oh, good, this guy has a spear too. And now I think I can burn this big tent. Great. Oh, that was disappointing. No burst of flame, I just kind of made it smolder. So I think that one of the... I don't know if it's necessarily a truly legendary burglarious feat, but I feel like setting fire to a tent without aggroing the orc that's standing right in front of it ranks reasonably high on the burglarious scale. Don't you think? Oh, what's that chest there? Oh, this guy's got treasure. I don't see any more barricades in here. Okay. What I got? 5 heads and 4 spears. Five barricades. Do I have all of the quests now? No, wait. Which one is the one? Circling the kill, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I do. Got them all. Great. Okay. Let's see. How many more tents do I need to set on fire? 2 more tents. Oh, there's another barricade. Here, come fight me next to this barricade. Okay. Alright, take you both together with the barricade. Okay. We're beheading orcs. We're collecting lumber. I'm gonna open this backpack from around the corner so that that guy doesn't notice me. Boom. So there's a flammable tent over there. We're still doing okay for time. I think we should be able to complete all these quests today. Just gonna sneak my way around camp until I see another flammable tent. Maybe find Thauch. Not seeing too many more. Oh, there's one. Right when I was tempted to give up. Well, there's a bunch of barricades over here, too. A sign of better days to come for Walstow. Great. I got a bunch of barricades here. How many barricades do I need? And how many orc heads do I still need? Let me see. Oh yeah, I still have to decapitate a couple people. So let me... Come here, do you have a spear? At the least I could collect your head. Let's go over here and fight while on the barricade. There we go. Oh man, I was too close, standing too close to it. Didn't even hurt that barricade. Still need spears, don't I? Do the Reavers have spears? There we go. Ericab is pointing out that the orcs are also following the spaced out barricade model. Yeah. Yeah, no, everybody agrees when attacking only to... Oh, you want to fight me, do you? Well, will you still want to fight me over here? Let's come over to this injured barricade. Yeah, I'm going to stand over on this side of it. Make sure I get it in my area of effect when I destroy you. Yeah, I think that there aren't that many trees in this area, so I think that the people of Walstow and the... Boy, this barricade is stubborn. The people of Walstow and the orcs of this region have a kind of gentleman's agreement. You know, like, they don't want to take down any more trees, so they're like, we have two options, right? We can either make good, consistent barricades, or we could leave the trees up and just agree to fight at the barricades that we do have, right? So, that makes sense. Let's see. Does this orc over here have a spear? No, he does not. Is it just the reavers that have spears? I'm in combat? With whom am I in combat? A barricade? Is a barricade still attacking me in self-defense? Yeah, it's the reavers that I need to get the spears out of. Okay. Come on. Come over here. Oh, look, we got everybody. This is a real party. Let's see if Gryfflet can survive this. Well, I took down the barricade at least, so there's that. Gryfflet is doing his mini guardian thing. Ha ha. Strong work, Gryfflet. Okay, 2 more barricades. Did somebody drop a spear? Yes, they did. Good. Okay. So I think I just need the 2 more barricades. So I think I'll stop playing with the orcs now that I got all the spears that I need. And I will just pick fights with the otherwise inoffensive barricades. Okay. All right, so I've got to find Thauk, and I've got to get the mounted guys. Okay. Is Thauk up here? Yeah. I think so. Wait, which one is he? Which quest is that? Crippling the front? No, he's in the south. Yeah. Yeah, he's not in this this one at all. All right. I'll show myself out. Watching the time. Getting close to the end of our time here. So I've still been trying to find a time for the Wigan Marathon. I've been... So here is the situation that has basically been emerging that I've been wrestling with. Here I was kind of originally thinking that like the, stay-at-home time would be a really good time for a marathon. And it turns out to be an unusually difficult time for a marathon for me, actually, because my family's here all the time. One of the things that I would that has been really nicest for me and I've spent a lot of time with my kids over the last couple months, and in fact we have we've been playing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons together, actually. We do this like every weekend now, my whole family together, and it's been really fun. Both of my kids are they wanted to learn to DM, so they designed their own little sort of mini campaigns, and they're running their own mini campaigns. We're alternating with a campaign that I'm running, so it's been a lot of fun. But it means it's like harder than I expected to schedule weekend stuff, and it really kind of does have to be weekend stuff because this has a convenient cliff overlooking it, so that anybody can just ignore the walls and sort of rappel down into camp. It's not the best design, orcs. Okay. Just gotta find Thauk. Anyway, so yeah, it's been really nice, and I've really enjoyed it. But yeah, it means like getting time to take an entire day off on the weekends to do a marathon has been challenging. It really has. And as I say, I really can't during the day. I've got way too much during the weekdays. I've got way too much Signum stuff that I've been doing. We're in a very, very busy time for Signum. Certainly there has been no slowdowns and only the opposite for Signum when it comes to during this quarantine time. Oh, a big tent. I think if I come in here. There you are. Oh, you saw me. I was just about to hit you from behind, but that's all right. I didn't mean to throw a knife at you from here. I was trying to stun you and hit the wrong button there. That's all right. Just throw some sand in your eyes or something. Okay, no problem. Broke their leadership. Hey, he's got treasure. Exactly, Zach. The Signum path won't pave itself. That's exactly it. Lots of stuff going on. Anyway, so I'm trying to balance all the things. So what I'm looking for is a weekend day that where my family has other commitments, and my best shot for that is going to be a weekend when my older son is working. He's still working, and so when he is like working a full day, then that'll probably be my best opportunity. Because I just, and I know a lot of you are either in a similar place or have been there as well. My kids are 17 and 12 right now. And that means I've got a fairly limited amount of time left, with my kids in the house. I've got... one son, my son Nicholas, who's 17 and has one more year of high school and is going to be leaving the house soon. So, no matter how busy I am, I feel like my kids want to spend family time. I can't say no. That's kind of where I am with that. So, I'm, again, that's honestly the primary reason why it's been very difficult, because although I'm not traveling anymore, and so I am home a lot more, that element of the being home more wasn't something I was assuming was necessarily going to happen. So anyway, that's why it's been so tough for me to find a time. Boy, these corruptors are ornery. So yes, I knew people would understand, and like I said, those of you who either are or have been parents of teenagers will understand that feeling of time kind of running out. Like there will be years in the future when it will be much easier to schedule marathons because my kids will be off on their own doing their thing. It'll just be. And I'll be empty nesting it at that point. Oh, come on, not with the wooden fences. Oh, can we go out into the field, please? Stay away from the stupid fences. Fine, I will ignore you. If you're gonna run over there, you can't make me fight you. Hey, anyway, here's a corruptor over here. Oh, good, I can attack him from the other side of the fence. I'll let him inconvenience himself. Speaking of being inconvenienced, Carrion is being slightly inconvenienced here. Okay. Oh, hey, look, I defeated him. Whew. Boy, that was close. Let's just let Carrion heal a minute here before we charge on into further battles. How many do I still need? 2 more Corruptors and 3 more Warg Riders, huh? Okay. Maybe Constable Wren likes a working man. Maybe so. Hope springs eternal. Oh dear. Oh fine, so you're just gonna assault me, huh? I'm standing here trying to recover. You come at me out of nowhere. Oh man. Dropped you like a bad habit. Must have done some pretty strong crits to that Corruptor. Let's try to stay away from your 2 friends over there. Okay, 2 more Warg Riders and 1 more Corruptor. Let's let Carrion recover his morale points. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm a little bit late, Druid's Fire. I apologize for that. Let me just finish up, because if I finish this, I can hand them all in, and then that'll be a good place to end on. I didn't want to end with, like, 4/5 of these quests completed. Oh, Croft Defiler. No, no, no. I don't want to fight you. I don't care. I'm not going to fight you. You're a waste of my time. Okay. Yeah, Croft Defiler, like, Druid's Fire is waiting. I'm not going to make Druid's Fire wait for me to just go around stomping on random Croft Defilers. Oh, that's you again. My Croft Defiling friend. Anybody in here? Another Croft Defiler? There's a Warg Rider. And he immediately goes for the fence. Darn it. Oh, sorry. Mistimed my ride there. Oh, good. He didn't heal. Ha! Killed him before he killed me. I guess that's kind of the point of combat, isn't it? Alright, I've got 1 more Corruptor. Sorry, I'm just trying to stay. Well, oh well. Didn't quite make it. Yeah, I was gonna heal myself, but the whole stream fill has been really, really dark. I've been waiting for light to come out. It's been nighttime and raining. It's been Worthing? Seriously? This is where the nearest res circle is? We'll have to remember that next time we're going into Snowburn. I'll take that as a shortcut. But man, that's inconvenient. Well, let's get one more corruptor then and find our way in. Come on, carry on. Okay, so arguably I should probably pull some of my healing potions and stuff onto my quick bar in my mounted combat thing, right? That'd probably be handy. Let's do that. Okay. Okay, one more corruptor, then back in. You know, Ethelod, maybe I can try that. Maybe I can find... I might not be able to do a full marathon, but maybe instead of shooting for that... Oh, seriously? Cramp is after me again? I thought I made my intentions of not fighting Cramp fairly clear. But anyway, yeah, maybe instead of... So I've been trying to hold out and trying to find a time for that, but maybe what I should do for now is just kind of give up on that and do some Where's Wigand sessions, some shorter sessions. I don't... I'm not sure if... I mean, I guess what I could do is I could just do those sort of unannouncedly on the Signum stream. Is probably what I'd have to do. So I guess it means that if you don't currently follow the Signum U Twitch channel, you totally should, because then you'll receive a notification of when Wigan goes live, which he might do at almost any time. In some weekend sometime soon. Okay, we're back in business here. Looking for a corruptor. Wait, was that one? No, Warg Rider. There he is. See if I can get him to go into the river and dismount himself again. Where'd he go? Got him. Okay. I could do them at 2 in the morning. Yeah, no, I could do them at 2 in the morning. Yeah, no, that's very likely, actually. I probably wouldn't actually do them at 2 in the morning, though. That would seem a little bit, even though I know that's more thoughtful for my, for those of y'all over in Europe than it is when I, if I were to do it at 9 o'clock at night. But, yeah, JJ points out that if I started at 2 a.m., I might have to cut one of my evening classes short, which is a concern. That's true. Yeah. Oh, it's hard. All right, let's turn in our quests and then finally let Druid's Fire go. She is being so patient. All right, hang on. Whoa, carry on. All right, here we go. Okay. Here we go. What do you say, Winsig?
Our mission is dire.
While such a vicious show of force is not normally my favorite choice, right, posting decapitated heads, if we are to survive, I feel nothing can be lost by imitating Fostering. His thirst for destruction has made an impression on the orcs, and if they could feel such a thing as fear when approaching Snowborn, I'm sure they would. I will have these mounted about town. No problem. Okay.
What brings you to these lands?
From these resources. Very good. More barricades. And...
Will you aid the horse lords?
Without their riders. Great. Yes. Okay. What do you say now, Winsig?
Our mission is dire.
I've done what you thought impossible. The orcs may still pose a threat, but they will no longer lurk just outside our homes. We will strengthen our defenses at the east wall and block as many of their number as we can. Excellent. Oh, earrings. let's do that.
The Rohirrim have need of your services.
The orcs will be reeling from their assault for a great long time. Now we must work to ensure that no more of their ilk slip past our defenses. Travel out to the pathway that leads to the east wall. You will find barricades there, but none of my men due to my efforts. I can now afford to have my riders defend their positions. Okay. All right. I will go back and we'll defend the east wall. But next time. Okay. Excellent. Oh yes, Maven, great. Yeah, that. So you guys should totally check out, which you should in general, Maven and Rinroos's podcast, The Time That We're Given. And I did a guest spot on that. We talked about the attack on Weathertop. It was really cool. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Definitely check out that podcast episode. And yeah, we went a little long in that episode. It's so true. When do we think Gryfflet will catch up with Wigan? Like geographically? Yeah, I mean, Gryfflet may well. I mean, he would have way surpassed him in level already, right? If I hadn't been freezing him. But yeah, I mean, that Gryfflet is coming up, and he's been doing completionist ever since Dunland, and has done completionist. Dunland, completionist, Great River, and now completionist, East Rohan, and he's gaining still on Wigan is kind of sad. The Time That Is Given Us, yes, The Time That Is Given Us podcast. That is definitely go check that out. All right. Very good. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. This has been a lot of fun. Do subscribe to the Signum U channel, and I'll see if maybe Wigan can hop on at some point. That's the hopping thing happening right there. If I can hop on with Wigan and see if I can make a little bit of progress towards the Black Gate, and we'll see what we can do. Thanks, everybody, and I will see you guys next week. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.